I hope. We'll see in
Well,
about...
don't forget that there's a delay that when we do this.
I'm refreshing the screen.
The delay shouldn't be very long.
It says we're offline still when I reload the page.
Oh, something's flashing. Someone's flashing.
Oh. Ah!
Are we live?
Oh, I need to mute this.
Yeah, mute
Okay.
mute us.
Alright, wow.
Mute yourself. Are we good?
I
Are we
feel
golden?
weird with this being...
Don't feel weird.
Oh.
Feel proud.
No, just watching myself in the past in front of me is weirding me out right now.
Well, that's why you have a couple of different tabs open. You can pull away from that.
I love it.
I might just keep the actual Skype call up.
That's what
yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I have both. I have both, so I think we're golden here.
Hearthstone play up so I can win this game. I want to win this game of Hearthstone.
That scared me. I just opened up Twitch and it was both of our conversations delayed by 15 seconds.
Oh yeah.
Man.
Do this.
Well,
Over
I have to do that.
here.
all right,
We did it.
I'm gonna post this thing in places. Whoa.
Oh, this is
MarkJon podcast new format.
Oh,
Whoa.
dang.
so
Welcome to the pre-show for anybody who's here.
Hello.
Who's here? Let's win this game of Hearthstone
Don't ask
because that's what
people.
I'm doing right now.
Oh my god. There's so
That-
many things.
What do we think?
So many
Wait, is the chat?
things.
Wait, is the chat showing up properly?
Yeah,
Yes.
it should be.
If someone talks and just do a test message.
How,
Yes!
How'd you know that?
It did.
It's not popping up on my screen. Oh, there I am. Alrighty. Let's start just.
Somebody just sent me on Facebook. Happy May.
Ashley.
Ashley.
What's up,
Ashley?
Ash?
Hello, I seen Ashley. This is a
What
new
is it?
format.
This is
New format.
we're in the 21st century. Hello, Xenia.
Xenia. Howdy. There are people. So many people. And I'm playing Hearthstone while people are here, and it's
Well, we're doing the pre-show, everybody.
This is
So
just
I want to
making
get you guys'
sure-
idea. What do you guys think? We're testing this just because we can't always drive out to Mark's place, and we do have our own situations.
like the
and we're
fire
gonna tell
behind the house right now.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and tell some stories.
yes.
You can't have
We're
a
gonna tell some
pumpkin.
stories when once the podcast actually starts. We're gonna like specify some certain things. You can't have
Yeah,
a
like
pump.
fire.
You guys killed Pumpy. That is not the
Pumpy
true
deserved to
pumpkin.
die.
Mark, I need you to MS paint the name Pumpy over that pumpkin.
Down with the false idols. Okay, well, while we're waiting for this thing to actually start, I'm gonna open up MS Paint.
Oh, item. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Hi, Brunettalicious.
Brunettalicious.
We did a new thing. We can see each other now.
Everything is.
What do you guys think?
I'm personally a huge fan, but we'll
We
see.
get to see our rooms now.
Yeah, you get to see 3 perspectives are better
Yep.
than 1. Okay, hold on.
Oh, should I show them Gertrude?
Oh my god, no, don't bring Gertrude. Oh, no. Why do you do this?
Gertrude.
What is that horrible thing?
It's Gertrude.
Have you
my
never
child.
seen Gertrude, Mark?
I feel like it's more
Mark, you see
interactive
Gertrude?
somehow. I kind of agree, yeah.
Gertrude? I got when I was in like 7th grade for Halloween, and I gave her an umbrella. She has a toothpick in her feet because they were breaking off. This is Gertrude.
Okay, I've updated the pumpkin. If you will all please check your streams and see the changes I have made.
Brunettalicious, I appreciate. Okay, let's quit
Oh,
Hearthstone over
God.
here so I can actually see everyone. Because, you know, it's a game I play, and I'm gonna put Gertrude over here where my cookies were. So now, I will take this. I'm narrating what I'm doing for the viewers.
Did you say marinating?
I am marinating for the
I
viewers.
am marinating what I'm doing for the viewers.
Okay,
you
so
want us to think funny?
What?
something funny is that on my screen, the Twitch, the way I have my screen divvied up, it just shows you next to the pumpkin, next to like 3 things of chat. Doesn't show the us two. I just think it's
Interesting. So I am.
You are the MarkJon podcast, yeah.
Except just give me a pumpkin, and that's all. That's all I need.
Speaking of which, for those of you guys who don't know, video is going to be coming out onto the YouTube channel fairly soon. I don't know when, soon. And it's going to basically be the retiring of Pumpy.
I have to edit it, and editing means I have to not be lazy, but also I have 3 midterms in 3 weeks, so I will try and get to it soon.
Jonathan.
Yeah,
Jonathan,
so it's kind of to that discretion.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Jonathan, show Bernalicious your legs. Show me the leg.
The leg?
Yeah.
My third
Just
leg?
ask about the leg. Oh, it's pointing the wrong direction. Dang it, the delay didn't work. It's mirrored.
Oh!
This way.
I get it. Good
They
job.
went this way. But that's to Jonathan. That's to Jonathan.
We can point at each other. Look at this
So
technology.
Jonathan.
Hey, there's
This way is
I don't
fine.
know where we are oriented. just
there's
'cause
Jonathan.
Okay, so if we point like this, okay. got
Whoa,
it.
Jonathan's to my
If I
left, like in the actual podcast for me anyway.
point there.
'Cause I'm pointing. You're pointing
So,
towards
after
the
the-
Legacy of MarkJon podcast logo.
Am I?
Yeah.
You are. Okay, so we're figuring out all
Oh,
this.
well,
so,
that's the podcast right there.
so if I go.
That is Mark. That's so
Um,
weird because I'm pointing at my bed when I point at you, Mark.
Yes.
I am
the
your
third
bed.
leg.
You've slept in me. Get in the cover.
You
What's
I
even
can
better is that if I wanna point to 7, I'm pointing at the ground.
Ooh, it's like hell.
It's
I guess I am.
You're in hell down there with the pumpkin.
777. You know, number of the pumpkin.
The number of the pumpkin.
That's how it works.
All right.
The
777.
ruler
Alright,
of the
guys, so
pumpkin patches.
It's 9 o'clock.
No, whoa,
So-
we have like 15 seconds of goofing around still. It says 8:59 on my computer.
On my computer it says
Oh, does it?
9:01. I think you're living
No,
in the past.
Wait. You will say it's 9 o'clock on your computers?
Yeah.
Let's look
Well,
at the
you guys
Google time.
turned in- well, I guess I'm the only one left in Party Land. Wow, lonely place here.
Google.
Just sipping my water.
Sipping your gin and juice. Get the mind on the money and the money on
Definitely.
my mind. Also on Google it says it's 9:01. 7. Get with the fucking times.
Well, it's the time is that it's still 8:59, so I can goof around, be all arm waving, and it's 9 o'clock. Let's get serious. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Haley Kitty, thank you. Mark
John and 7.
Haley
And
Kitty,
7.
hello.
Hi Haley Kitty.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first podcast with this new format. We want to get what you guys think. Let us know. Send us emails. Send us comments. Whatever. Just send it over to the chat. Whatever you guys want to do. Welcome to podcast number 19 for you returners. We love you. For any newbies, we also love you. We wanted to also preface this with a quick saying of email us your question of the week. We've got a question of the week at the end of the podcast, so please be sure to do that.
Wait,
because we will be answering them.
I've got a method for it now. Go there. Do it.
Yeah,
What?
do
Yes,
it.
I can put it in chat
the
now.
email.
Yes.
That is the email.
It's in chat.
That is the email. Send me your questions of the week. I have my email propped up right over here. This is
This way.
the Legacy of MarkJon email. And I will personally be picking them out, and we will be asking the question at the end of the podcast. So if you guys have a burning question that you guys want us to dedicate about 5 to 10 minutes to, there you go. There you go. Anyway, so let's first start off with this podcast with 7 and I have been stressed for the last 3 hours.
Because fire.
There has been a fire in our backyard.
Yeah.
Not in our personal backyard, but it's basically the mountains behind us.
We
Fire broke
watched
out,
it,
man.
You fucking nerd. Honestly, unless your skin is literally sloughing off your body from the heat of the fire, don't you complain about no fires to me. I had to get up at 2 a.m. to 2 Asian ladies knocking on my door going, "There's a fire down the mountain, fire down the mountain." And they were like, and we were like, what the fuck does that even mean? We were confused, and it was 2 in the morning, and then we packed up our stuff, and then 20 minutes later, the fire marshal's like, "Yeah, you guys are fine," and then we went back to sleep. and I could smell the fire. There was ash in my face. It wasn't good for my allergies. It was
The mountains are turning black, Mark.
No, they're not. Don't fucking.
The Red Army approaches. It actually was turning black, in all honesty.
Ooh, that's what fire does. It makes things turn charcoaly.
Yeah, it's getting closer, and there were a lot of helicopters and chemicals being poured everywhere, and we were all staring outside, waiting for it to end.
Can we talk about how
Or
the
just
conspiracy
shows them dead
theories
reasons.
of them dropping like fuel for the fire onto the fire?
Well, I guess it is a conspiracy theory that you can have. Oh, Delicious. I'm sorry, I didn't know it was you. Glad to have you here. Welcome.
Chemtrails.
Chat gets the update. But if you wait a moment, Delicious. Oh, look at all these.
But yeah,
wonderful chat.
We have been basically making we've made this new format, and real quickly, I hope you guys like the overlay. We wanted to quickly thank Xenia for that, because for you guys who don't know, is Tomoya. I believe that's X3131.
That in chat.
Ah!
Yeah, 3511.
Chat this way for me. Okay, this way at chat.
Yeah,
I should get a cut out
she's a
right
good
now.
artist, and she made all the pieces, but it was slightly oriented wrong, so I had to rearrange everything. But it looks great, and I like the themes and all that. I don't know what I was pointing at OBS, but I realized that that's me just pointing at the side of the screen.
You know what I've realized?
What's
Yusuf?
that?
That while on the couch constrained, I have to sit still. But here, I can move around the screen and bob back and forth and up and down and all that. Exactly what Mark's doing.
Bob and weave. Lil
Bob
Mac.
and weave. Everyone bob. Come on, let's do this.
Xenia, we were just saying thank you for the stuff. Thank you for the overlays and all that thing.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's really awesome.
Oh wow, I look like a doofus. Like a bone.
Yeah, all I can see is you.
Should I-
dodge and weave.
I feel like, is there a way to make the camera zoom out, Mark?
I don't know, actually. You can push it back further, but you look fine. Everyone thinks they look like a doofus on camera. That's nothing abnormal there.
Okay, so I
Oh.
heard that we have a topic button now aside from the welcome section. Is
Oh!
that true?
Can I talk about Nier Automata and how I finally finished the game completely?
Yeah,
How
have
many-
at it.
Yeah.
Okay, let
Fox
me
in a box.
change.
Hello.
What's up, Fox in a Box?
Hi.
Yellow. I
So-
love how non. Sorry.
What's
go
up? No. You say your thing first, okay? I want to know.
I was just gonna say I love how non-stock photo-y our pumpkin is.
Yeah, not
It's
at all.
There's so much original content, and I love it.
10 stripe tiger, you can't tell me what I can and can't talk about, because I have things I told John just before the podcast started, but you were looking at a Fire 7, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
But also check out this fucking sick ass shit right here. Also, I restarted chat, so my bad. But it's gonna be up in just a second. You can actually see what I'm talking about on the stream as I'm
hi,
talking about it. Hi, Greg.
Greg, where's Greg? Oh, Bark the Toad. Oh, chat. Oh, cool. Oh, I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Isn't that nifty? Basically, don't talk about Nier, talk about Nier. Oh, okay. I see.
Okay.
Basically, Nier Automata, I finished it completely on Saturday at around 2 p.m. It was the
wow.
very first game or media property, TV show, anime, movie, video game, anything that has ever
Well,
made
that's
me
what
cry.
now.
Hey, Mark, real quick. Woeful Wrestler's asking a longtime console gamer how should they switch to PC Master Race.
Oh, absolutely! Build your own
Hi.
rig. You will not regret it. It is fantastic. Go build your own
What?
rig.
Oh, so Mark, I
Yes.
have a question. How early into the game is this fight that I'm seeing right now on the screen?
This is about 2 hours into the fight, or into the game, I'd say.
Into the fight, got it. So it's like a 7-hour fight.
Yes.
So, talk to us about the combat. Tell us what we're seeing here.
The combat in the game has fairly simple mechanics, but it sounds amazing. Also, Seven, you didn't hear the most important part of what I was saying.
Oh, I missed it.
I said that this was the first game or media property of any kind to make me cry.
Really?
Legitimately cry.
That good?
That it was that impactful that at the end I legitimately had tears coming down my face. I even at the end of Final Fantasy 15, a game that I think has a fantastic story and it was incredibly sad, I only like got a little choked up but not even close to crying. This game did it to me, which I am incredibly impressed.
Oh yeah.
Kudos.
So
this very very much so reminiscent of Fury, but it just looks like it's got a different perspective, like a third dimension as opposed to
It
just
kind of
from a
does.
top-down
It kind of
perspective.
does. I could see that that comparison being made.
oh,
that-
that's cool.
It has a very bullet helly
Oh, yeah.
element.
Miss you too, Senia.
It has a very bullet helly element in the actual combat where it's not just like a Diablo or not Diablo, Devil May Cry or like a Bayonetta style thing. It has a lot of bullet hell elements mixed into it. So while you're fighting with fists or with swords or whatever, you also have long range attacks that you could be using while you're combo attacking them with your swords and stuff. And not only that, there are these pod programs which are like special attacks that aren't part of your normal combos. They're like their own thing. So there's like long range ones, there's short range ones. You were really close to crying during FF15's Ignis Fun Times. I was honestly, the ending I was closer. The very end of FF15 I was closer. Ignis's was like I was just sad. That was just depressing. That one hit me hard. But this game, it made something that no other game, as far as I'm aware, has hit as hard as this one with the weight of your own actions.
Okay, so from my understanding, and with the games made by this company, with the games Fine that you have to play through it numerous times. So during each playthrough, you play it a bit differently. Elements change. That whole type of thing goes on with the type of games they make. So how is it that your actions carry over between playthroughs?
Well, first of all, let me address Red Sage. If this game and I don't feel like life isn't worth living because of sadness at the end of this, I will find you. I was actually crying from both tears of joy, happiness, and pride all at the same time.
Interesting.
It wasn't just sadness, but there was some sadness mixed into it. But there was so much going on that specifically the music of the part that I'm talking about. Don't look this game up. For the love of God, if you have any intention of playing this game, do not look it up. I cannot stress that enough. Because it's kind of like I've heard some comparisons drawn to Undertale with how the game orients itself and how it holds that kind of like story elements to it. Though this one is a lot more on rails, but I think it does it for good reason. That being said, you've been watching this combat the whole time. It's also one of the best combat systems I've ever had in a game ever. It does dodging almost as good, if not better, than Dark Souls. And that's me saying I've played a lot of games that I cannot get behind the dodging and all that mechanically, but this game has impressed the shit out of me.
Okay, so I have two things I want to say. The first one's addressing the whole thing with Undertale. With a game, Undertale felt really railroady, but railroady in the wrong ways. And you're going to have this zone to this zone to this zone, where you can do whatever you want to the zones, so there wasn't as much impact there. But with Web CM Nier Automata, they have a story that's more developed. It's more on rails, so you can tell a more complex story. Having run D&D for the two of you, I'm hoping I'm pointing in the right direction.
You are. Good job.
That's so great. So, for having run D&D games for you guys, I've created these huge stories, but because I tried to make it sandboxy, all the
We completely ignored those stories a couple of times.
Yeah.
So much so that we had to stop ourselves from going to the ocean because of it.
The Grand Line specifically, where we were going to become pirates.
I jokingly said that the Grand Line was on the other side of the world, and the entire players, after causing the beginnings of an apocalypse, decided, you know what? Screw this continent. It's going to die in unholy fire. Let's get a boat and become pirates. And I stopped the game because I couldn't just trash an entire world and remake a new one in a finger snap. But
God,
So-
there were so many like interesting things happening in that world too. I wasn't even a part of that decision. I was like out.
Yeah, it
doing
happened
something
at
that
an
night.
oven at oven 450 when we were getting
Yep.
flatbread. Seven
Yep.
offhandedly was like, "Oh, I said you were mentioning the shape of the world and how it's oriented in like a figure eight pattern."
Okay, I will explain the world. Jonathan, do you remember this whatsoever?
No, not too much.
Okay, so if this handle of the mug was the continent that you guys played on, if you go 180 degrees around the world, heading, for me, this is to the east, where do you end up on the other side? Japan.
Okay.
So say you head 180 degrees to the east again, where do you end up?
Well, logic would dictate back to where we are.
Incorrect. Non-Euclidean geometry. You end up in the Grand Line from One Piece. So say you head 180 degrees again around the island, the planet. Where do you end up?
Not Japan.
No, Hawaii. You head 180 degrees again, you're back where you started on the other side of the continent.
That sounds like 90 degrees, not 180.
No, it's 180.
No, it's 180. It's 180. Because it's non-Euclidean in shape.
It looks
So-
like a weird figure eight floating out in space.
Yeah.
No, that has a name to that, but that's for two-dimensional translating. To
Mobius
three-dimensional.
world
What
strip.
you're talking about is something else.
Mobius strip.
Yeah, it's a
sort of
Mobius
like
strip, but
It's sort of a Mobius strip, except a 3D
oh, is that
Mobius.
what it is?
The Mobius strip into the fourth dimension. Just
That's
don't
a Klein
throw the-
bottle.
No, not a Klein bottle. Well, a Klein bottle, yes, but this is not that.
Okay.
Sort of a Mobius strip. It was weird.
And
Anyway,
back to what I was saying before, and because Toastus mentioned, he said that he hasn't witnessed the New Game Plus story for Nier and Nier Automata. The New Game Plus isn't New Game Plus, it's you hitting continue when the game ends. You just beat the game, you get the credit sequence, and then Square Enix says, "Hey, you didn't even see half the mechanics we actually put in the game. We hope you
Wait, did they
do."
say that?
Yeah. They're like, "You haven't even seen a little bit yet." And I was like, "Excuse me, I just put like 8 hours into this game and I beat it." And I was like, "That's a somewhat satisfying ending." And then, I mean, it would have been maybe an 8.5 out of 10 had it stopped at the first ending. Then you play it again from the perspective of 9S, which I'm not going to get into detail, but it is the same playthrough again.
But
Then when you get to the point where the game ends previously, it ends again, you get your credits again, and then it says, "Hey, next time on Nier Automata." And you're like, "What?" And then you get a whole nother game after the game.
yeah.
And that's where the game actually starts. You don't even get the title screen card until your second playthrough.
Real quick, Claw plays Sava. Okay. Anyway,
What?
he's speaking French.
Oh.
What?
Claw plays?
Oh,
It's Salut, Sava.
You get the perspective
hello,
of the
how are you?
twink boy?
Well, it's like, what's going on?
Honestly,
Talk a lot.
9S is fucking badass. He's stronger than 2B in every possible way. That's not true, necessarily. But his hacking is fucking OP.
hey Mark.
Yeah.
I had a point I was going to make. I wanted to rewind with, if I may, because I had two things with the Undertale.
Okay.
I interrupt your interruption of my interruption.
Okay.
So I was going to say that yes, Mary, hi.
What's up, Mary?
So railroading is necessary for the story. So I think that a bit of it is helpful for this. But my question I had was, during the combat, there would be there's ones where there'd be like the ghost images of 2B around her. What was that? Like,
Oh, that's just signifying that you dodged properly.
interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything mechanically or even lore-wise as far as I'm aware. But what I know is that when you dodge and you pull it off, it's fucking amazing. It works so well. Like, it feels great. Like, there's a lot of feedback. It's one thing that is extremely good about the game is there's a lot of user feedback, for sure. They're all locked up in different cells in my basement. Oh god, please don't.
This is a really nice basement, and you have Bernard-Licious, you have a great
You
replica
gave me a
of Mark
sword
Jon.
and spears and scythes. Wow.
You left Gertrude with me.
I think the ghost images is basically your computer brain thinking of all the possible outcomes of a dodging for a split second and then picking the best outcome. That sounds cool. I'll go with it.
Do you move into one of the ghosts, or do they just pop up?
I think they all come back into you.
Interesting. Then do you move into one of them, or how does that work? Because that would make sense if that's how it happened.
Just like
think of it as if like your multiple parts of your personality are being split apart, but they aren't exactly detached yet. So they're all going in different directions, but all meet up back into a central area.
Yeah, this isn't your personality. This is your physical form.
Think of it like. I didn't say it was actually the case.
That wouldn't be too far off from the actual game story either, which is...
Oh, that's interesting.
So, also, Seven, since you're a writer, I think you'll find this pretty interesting. I went and checked on a couple of things from the ending because I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything at the end on YouTube, and people in the comments were legitimately debating the meaning of the game. Like, interpretations and paragraphs long that I've only seen in like fucking scholarly articles, and I'm just like, I was taken aback because there is no set meaning in the game, where there's a lot of things that are left up to interpretation, but it definitely closes the narrative. It tells its story and it finishes it off, and you know exactly what happened. But there's still things that you're not sure why they did them that way, even though it makes perfect sense at the time. And it's... Yes.
Oh. I was going to say there was a poem by a poet, actually a poet named Mike the Poet. He's a poet, historian, tour guide. He's actually fantastic. I recommend looking him up. Anyway, but one line of his poem was lamenting something along the lines of how video games are the new form of like popular music, the newest storytelling form, but in a negative sense. And I want to, as much as I am for forms of traditional literature, that being my career path, I think that it's important to acknowledge that video games are a valid storytelling method, because not only are you told a story, but you are put a role into it. It takes a layer of remove from the storyteller telling you the story, but gives you the world to interact with, gives you the characters, the items, choices to make where you have an impact, where you become a character and can therefore glean the lessons that way. So that people are debating the ending, that people are experiencing and trying to figure out what to take from it. I think that's a very encouraging direction for games to go as a storytelling medium rather than just an entertainment medium. And
I completely agree with you. Like there was
what's also good to add about that is that this is where kind of those ambiguous games, kind of like Nier, this is where they have been getting a lot more attention. You notice those are doing a lot better. When there's a game that is just kind of like you're just fighting all the time. There's no real narrative, no mystery, or no real development of your own self along the way. For example, like Mario Kart, the only service it has is to bond people together in real life. There's no like story, emotional experience. You're just racing a goddamn car. But something like Nier Automata or Undertale kind of gets you invested slowly over time in a weird way, and then I like that idea that you can therefore relate yourself into it, and that's kind of what I like about with sorry, let me finish the last point. That's kind of what I like about literature too, is you can sit there and you can read any book, and part of it is that you're supposed to connect with the person in the book. And at least this is my own experience with reading. I know most of the novels that I've read, I've been doing this, where you end up interpreting the ending yourself, right? Well, which is why you have, like in high school, you have a bunch of like classes that literally the entire exam is, how did you feel about this? And you could give 3 different responses on 3 different exams, and you can both end up with the same grade, better or worse, just depends on the interpretation of the teacher. Like it just ends up being a matter of, did you experience something from this, and how did you take it? And I actually like that. Yeah, it like Steven was saying, I like that it's been going in that direction, especially with Nier, and other games with lesser extents here and there. Hello, Cheryl.
Hi. I was gonna say one thing real quick about the whole storytelling versus like Mario Kart. It's kind of like watching a Michael Bay movie versus watching like The Revenant,
Interstellar,
or Interstellar, or like a movie.
Yeah.
Oh god, where movies were at the same at one point or another touted in the same way that games are now, where they were like, movies could never be a serious medium, right? Like, we have literature for that. But now we're making movies that people have critics and take seriously and have meaning that you can't necessarily glean from a book. They could have a whole new dimension. They have a whole new way of telling these stories, where now that's being experimented with in games, where you have your fucking, Mario Kart, and also there are coloring books in, literature, but you don't see people being, Calvin and Hobbes is not, even though it actually is somewhat philosophical, but you don't see someone looking at the Garfield comics and be like, look at how stupid literature is. Like, those fucking idiots don't take anything seriously, But yeah, I just think there's a lot of potential, and I'm really excited to see where things go. There's been
it'd be good to know
attempts like Gone Home and like Proteus and Dear Esther, but I'm glad that they're coming around.
And there's this whole other thing with literature specifically that is very sort of disconcerting, in all honesty. That all of literature, I'm a creative writing major. In the department, we are realizing that we are not writing for the general populace. We're writing our stories for other people who are writing stories. It's becoming a narrow field. The audience is shrinking. Games are a larger audience because it gives you that choice, because it gives you that freedom, because it lets you have one of those choose your own movies without the entire theater having to... What? Did we just switch where we were on screen for a second?
There was a message in Skype from John, and the little bubble is bothering me now, so I was trying to clear it out.
Well, I sent you a message of a trailer, actually, before.
Oh, God. Okay, hold on. I'm going to get it real quick.
Okay. Aha, the bubble's coming up.
Okay, it's going to be gone. Oh, God, I hate that. Okay, we're good.
Because it was... So, the game I always refer to of great storytelling is Darksiders, but at the same time, there's no real meaning in the storytelling aside from, look at the story. And look at that. That looks funny. But...
That's what you get for sending me Skype messages during...
I know. But I pulled up the trailer, and I should also note I've never seen the trailer before, so I think it's full of angst. So if we want to show it, I request that...
It's already up. We're seeing the trailer right now.
With the Darksiders trailer, I just saw the top part of it. It looked like it was just a 2D animation.
It's not much better than 2D animation.
Oh no! I haven't heard what goes on in it.
Oh god, this is super angsty, yeah.
It really is.
Like, I appreciate that they're telling...
Horsemen.
Oh, why? Why am I vouching for this game?
Because it's your window. It's one of the games that you've played that you can reference that had an impact on you a long time ago.
But the issue was it's nostalgia. It was nostalgia and bitterness that made me like the game. Because I got up until the final fight.
Hated by hell.
Then my then my whole console crashed. Aren't this the Lich King wearing
Hunted by heaven and hated by hell. Jesus, they really... When was this game released?
When was this released?
They went full angst mode with this.
It looks like a 2007.
It looks like a PS3, Xbox 360 game because of how blocky and large the character models are.
And my PS3 broke, so I stopped playing it, but I got it again, and I was super psyched to play the game, and then I played it. But I shot that trailer because it's a great story, a really interesting world. But when you finish it, it's, okay, story's over, world's established, what's next? Unlike Nier, where just seeing Mark's reactions about it is just really encouraging.
Yeah,
really exciting.
Like I'm saying, like, you can't... I don't think... correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't think of a single time someone has told me, like, I just read this book, I was bawling my eyes out at the end of it. I think that was that's... Nowadays, it's...
Mark?
Hold on. It's because you don't talk to anybody who does that.
You don't read, Mark.
Steven and myself know plenty of people who do that. I've got a good friend who
what a
I'm in
bunch of fucking
multiple classes
nerds, am I
with who
right?
does that every single time she reads a freaking book.
I have a book out on the table in my Go pile that I actually had to put down several
pile?
times when reading. Yes, it's a Go pile of signed and old books I don't want to burn.
Wake me up before you go pile.
Zinnia cries from books. Did you want to insult Zinnia, Mark?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what?
You just
I
fired
stand
up a video
corrected.
game. What's
I
wrong with
stand
you?
corrected. Okay. But also, there aren't as many games that have come out that invoke those kinds of reactions in people.
Oh, no.
And I'm glad to see something that hit this close to home for me, because it has reached the point where I might consider it maybe my favorite game of all time. I need to
Really?
give it a week, maybe a couple weeks, to make sure I don't read enough. More like I haven't read at all. But
Chat, I'm very proud of you for reading. You're keeping me
Proud of you.
employed. Go on.
I just think that I experienced a story that absolutely could not have been told via a movie or a book. And that is super cool that they experiment
gotcha.
with things like that.
That's cool. Real quick, guys, want to make sure that you guys send in your emails. The email, once again, I'll send this out.
I got it.
Got it? Okay.
No, I
Got
don't.
it.
Don't forget to send in your emails for your question of the week. We're going to be doing that at the end of the podcast. And also, while we're here, we're just going to take a quick hiatus, and we're just going to go ahead and say, what time is it, Mark?
I think it's time for our
sponsors. Before we get sponsor time, I just want to say that's my first time being on the receiving end of ASMR from Mark.
How does
That
it
was
feel?
just
Did your loins
really-
tingle?
It was so incredibly unsettling. It's like someone took a hammer to the sky and just started bashing it harder and harder till small chips of blue were falling around me. The shrapnel was plummeting to the earth, spikes in the ground, what I thought were chips, great spires of blue sapphire, an obsidian-like darkness coming from them. They grew, towers around me, fangs of the earth, the sky being reduced to a dark color of void and white and fuchsia and death, the color of death, which is a strange pinkish hue, like a baby. It smelled like a baby, and the hammer, this unseen hammer, was crashing again and again, and an ocean came from it, this noise through the spires rising up, and I was clinging to them for dear life, this strange dreamscape, nightmarescape, this strange hellscape, this strange chipscape from all over. And the boats came. The people on them, 7-armed, 6-legged, 3 heads, each an angel's chorus coming, but from their eyes to the heavens, aurora wings behind them. They wore hats like pirates, and one saw me, and then they said, "Chips ahoy!"
That's so stupid.
That was so good. And then you said Chips Ahoy. Oh.
Goodness.
Oh, the
What's up,
delayed-
Toxic Shadows?
Hello, Toxic Shadows. Not drugs.
goodness.
No, just Gertrude in the light.
Wow. 5 out of
Should I
7.
show? Wait. Should I show them the coyote skull?
You can do whatever you want. Well, 7's gonna get a coyote skull.
All right, but don't forget to send us your questions. Looks like we've already got one. Just kidding. Oh.
Roo.
I just got the feed, like I just saw the Twitch stream from that. Goodness gracious.
Its name is Subcommandante Marcos.
Oh goodness.
I was wondering how many podcasts it would take for us to break that wall where one of you guys goes to the other one's room, but that didn't take very long.
Okay, so for those of you guys who don't know, Steven's room is right there.
Yeah.
And
My
where's
room is
Steven?
like 400
This way.
miles that way.
400.
Like 50 miles.
400 miles is a lot farther.
It's like, what? Times
That's
10.
like 5 hours.
That's like 4 hours.
I ran the length of a 40-minute drive in 15 seconds. It was a crossover episode.
Oh shit! All right,
What?
so I don't know if you guys have been hearing about this, but do you guys know who Citigroup is?
Isn't that a
Ooh.
bank?
Yes.
Oh,
But
shit! I was
it's-
making a joke about Citibank, but alright. I'm glad that it was actually...
Should we change the topic?
Oh, yeah, what
Yeah,
should
go
I
ahead.
change the
well,
topic
well,
to?
it's we.
Thank you for
Mark
fucking
doesn't know what
reminding
it's
me.
gonna be yet. So
Well,
Citigroup. Reese, go ahead and just write Nintendo Switch,
Oh.
Okay.
or Switch, whatever.
Mark seems a lot less excited now.
Well, of course.
I mean, I don't
But I
own
want to get your
Citibank.
guys' take on this because there's a whole list of shit that I want to talk about on this. We'll move on from it and we'll go into other games near the end of it. But so
Wait.
Citigroup is this
Oh.
this
Hi,
What's
Minute
up?
Mary? I think Minute Mary's leaving. Be
Okay.
productive.
okay, go
Bye.
be productive. Don't
Stop
let us
telling
distract you.
Marcos believes in you.
I do believe in you. How'd you know?
All
Oh,
right,
I
so
didn't hear what you said.
the Citigroup made a prediction. Now, this is like a whole. This is the banking, but it's also an investment firm, et cetera, et cetera. They made a prediction as far as the Nintendo Switch goes that was basically saying that they're going to be releasing a Nintendo Switch Mini. This is only a prediction. Probably in early 2018, kind of like they did with the 3DS and with like the XL and the new 3DS and so on. They're probably going to be releasing a Mini, and they're saying it's probably going to be let me list this off. They think it's going to be $200 or less, 4-inch screen, so it's about to be the size of your like mobile phone instead of being the size of a tablet. It's going to have a D-pad instead of the 4 different buttons for directional stuff. It's going to have no dock, not going to come with one, but it is going to be compatible. It's going to have no Joy-Cons because it's going to be attached, but again, still compatible with syncing up to Joy-Cons. And this is just a theory. Now, I wanted to see what you guys thought
talking about this.
about that. Huh?
What the fuck is Citibank talking about this?
Well, it's talking about trends. So, like, what's going to make them the most money? When should they be piggy banking off of this Switch stuff? They can't just do it immediately, or else it'll all dissipate really quickly. But if they do it later, but they have to find that opportune moment where it's like just about to start losing interest, and then you just throw it out there, so that
Oh.
it continues to rise.
Actually, speaking of which, the new 2DS XL was announced. Not the new 3DS XL or the 3DS XL or the 3DS or the 2DS or the new 2DS or the 2DS XL. It's the new 2DS XL.
Wait,
Yeah.
rewind.
And also there was no 2DS XL. So it's only the new 2DS XL.
So we can jump on to that real quick, but after this. But I wanted to get your guys' take on the Switch Mini real quick before we move on to the 2DS.
Wait, I'm so one first. I'm sorry. First, there's a 2DS and a new 2DS.
XL.
Okay.
No, there's no new 2DS, just the 2DS, the
Okay.
new 2DS XL.
They skipped
Okay.
2DS XL.
And they also skipped new 2DS.
Yeah.
Was there a new 3DS?
I
Yes,
think
there
so,
was.
yeah. There was
There's
also
a
a
3DS
3DS XL, there's a 3DS, there's a new 3DS, and then there's the new 3DS XL.
What's the difference between a 3DS and a new 3DS?
I have no idea. Nintendo's fucking stupid.
It's just minor hardware details. It's like it was an actual different console between the two. It's like there's like a graphical limitation that they've got further on in the new 3DS and 2DS.
Okay, all right.
Like
sure.
minor stuff. It wasn't anything grand, but yeah. So they did announce the 2DS XL or the new 2DS XL, and it's basically the catching feature of it is that it's going to be 150 versus the new Nintendo XL or new Nintendo 3DS XL's 300 or sorry $200.
And also
So
it
instead
flips now.
Instead of it being 200, it's 150.
But I think the
And it
Switch
can't
Mini,
close.
I don't think it's going to come for a while. And also, I think it's a bad idea. The reason for that is that it's not a bad idea on paper, but it's a bad idea in practice. Because I don't think playing Breath of the Wild on a 4-inch screen with non-detachable Joy-Cons. Hey, Toxic Shadows, thank you for following.
What's up?
Oh,
Thanks for
wait,
the
wait,
follow.
Where did that?
It'll pop up
happen?
in a second, but I'm gonna have to
Oh.
be the one to tell you guys from now on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, I
funny.
heard the noise. It was nice.
Ah!
Anyway,
Sheep! I have to reach the sheep. This way.
wrong
No,
way.
this way.
There you go. The sheep is bouncing on the pumpy. Yeah, I put it there for all the alerts.
It's, okay,
I
I have a
think-
question.
Yeah.
Is there a way to randomize which of our 3 video boxes the sheep will be in? So that way we can gamble and try to win the sheep?
No.
Oh, I wanted to be the one who won the love for the
I
day.
could make it appear in all 4 at once.
Eh,
I could make it
Oh.
take up the entire screen.
No.
That seems like a terrible idea.
So
The sheep's face just
Mark.
bouncing.
so you don't think that's going to be very viable?
I think they might do it. If they find a way to make it viable, sure, by all means, go for it. The only thing I could think of that would make it more viable is leave games like what's it called? The Doki Doki whatever Tetris game, the new one that came out.
Yep.
Leave shit like that on and let them play Breath of the Wild if they absolutely want to, but give them the capability to still hook it up to the TV.
they
That could save it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it doesn't come with a dock. It doesn't come with Joy-Cons, but it's compatible with both.
Is it just as powerful as the normal Switch, or is it weaker? Because of
Well, think of it like the same thing as like the PS2, the PS3, and the Wii Minis. They all had that going on for them.
But
So they were all just as powerful, but they were kind of like a small gimmick. So people bought them up real quick.
I think that some people will buy them, but as long as they're also selling the Nintendo DS, I do not think the Switch Mini would be a good idea, because they'll be creating a market where their 2 products will be competing for sales, which I don't think will do too well.
I don't
especially
think
if
it's
they're not-
necessarily competing for sales so much as the idea of like the iPad versus the iPad Mini versus the iPad Mini Pro versus the iPod Touch. They all technically fill the same market, but for different market values and for different needs. I think since Nintendo is already making a fuckload of money on the Switch, they could easily be like, hey, here's the Switch, the 2DA Switch or something, and then the new Switch DS XL minus XS, the smaller version, and then sell it for like $100, and people would eat that shit up like hotcakes. They could
I think
probably
that-
easily do that.
I think the whole difference is between, say, like the iPad comparison, the Switch comparison. I'm slowly sinking in my chair. Is that
Aren't we all?
with like the iPads, with the iPods, with the iPhones, those themselves function as what they need to function as. You can get the apps for free on them. You can have the phone, you have the texting, you have the music, you have what have you. But with devices like the Switch, with a DS, you get the device, but that device is what lets you then buy the game separately. So these devices aren't meant to be, oh cool, I need this iPad, but I need to make it smaller so I can fit it in my pocket. Cool, iPad mini. But if you have the Switch, oh cool, I have a Switch, I need to fit it in my pocket, but I still have to buy the game to play on it, which now it's not serving the function, it's just a different medium for the function. I have a Switch too, Mark.
They should release the new GameCube XL.
New GameCube SL?
A whole decade later?
Decade.
I
Yeah,
was thinking about whether it was a decade or not.
or a decade.
A decade.
PC is greater than everything. I agree.
Mhm.
Game Sphere.
Okay, so that's what you guys think on that. So
What do you think?
I'm not gonna get it, so it doesn't really matter. I already have the Switch.
You don't
so-
know that. I know people who own all 3 types of iPads and an iPhone.
Why?
Because they
you want to spend your money.
are
Sphere? It's
wasteful
spherical.
people.
Wait, Game Sphere, best console, better than PC.
That's true.
Game Sphere.
It is spherical, so.
Yeah. You two do know what that's referring to, right?
Yeah, Drake and Josh.
Good. Jonathan, you knew that, right?
I did not watch Drake and Josh as much as you guys think.
You can't say that you watched good media if you haven't watched Drake and Josh.
Okay, to be perfectly honest, I did not know Nickelodeon was a thing besides SpongeBob until like 2006. Which
That's
by
why
then,
they
Drake
put it
and
on
Josh had
Cartoon Network. I'm just kidding. No, they didn't. Gotcha.
stopped. Okay, so you guys, that was what you guys thought about that. So I'm curious about this. Now, this has to do with Square Enix, so this is going to be up your alley, Mark. They've been kind of getting super friendly with Nintendo lately, just releasing a whole bunch of stuff, a bunch of new stuff coming out from them for the Nintendo Switch and everything. Now, I'm kind of curious. Do you think they're ever going to like just make a huge ass title only for the Switch? Something like do you think they're just going to be like, all of a sudden release, hey, Kingdom Hearts only on Switch, Kingdom Hearts 3.
I think they've already announced that for the PS4, though.
Right, but if they pulled something like that, because they had plans
If they
with
pulled
Nintendo
something like that, the world would light on fire in one unisingle burst.
Behind our house.
That was the start. Just because you said that, they already heard you, and they lit you on fire before you even said that.
Okay. So here's the title I think they're going to release. For the Switch only, it's going to be Final Fantasy 1000. Okay, where as you all know, 1000, the Roman numeral for that is M, so this will be Final Fantasy M. That's going on. You'll be in a strange land where the crystals are down these huge like lava tubes that go all over the place. There's a great spined dragon. You'll be playing as a red mage. Going around, you'll get a green mage. Eventually, there'll be a princess who
Stop!
The rest.
No, I know where you're going with this.
A chocobo who lays eggs, and there'll be all like these mushroom-headed people because the mushrooms are taken over. You have to fight, Bowser in Final Fantasy M. Oh, and then Gilgamesh.
Hold on. Could you imagine the Super Smash Brothers that comes out after that though? I feel
They
like that
add 17 new Fire Emblem characters, and then also those characters.
Yeah, they really did go all in on the Fire Emblem for the Smash 4, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Meet Wad Sprite. Hi. Harvest Moon Switch.
what's
That would be pretty cool.
What was that?
Harvest Moon on the Switch.
I think they're doing something like that, aren't they?
Make it a Samus tie-in and call it Other M.
What's up, Schroeder?
Final Fantasy
okay.
M, you mean Super Mario
sure.
RPG?
Hold on.
You mean Paper Mario, which is what it was supposed to? Oh, what if they did do a Super Mario RPG too?
There was a Super Mario RPG. It was
the
called
original
Super
one did
Mario
so
RPG.
But anyway, so you just brought up Fire Emblem, which is actually going to take us to our next point.
And I can pull up the thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Meet
So
Wad Sprite. Hello.
what's up? So Fire Emblem Heroes, for those of you guys who don't know, is the mobile Fire Emblem game that was released sometime, I believe it was in February. You want to correct me on that?
7 stars.
Steven?
Wait. What about it?
So,
Maybe
yeah, it was released sometime in like February or something.
after Valentine's Day.
Yes, and they essentially made like a condensed version of Fire Emblem at your fingertips, and they had like this whole intro and everything, and it was showing like pictures of people. They showed Ike. Now, Ike is one of the favorites of the Fire Emblem community. It was voted 1st and 5th for 2 different games in the popularity poll. But they didn't include any version of Ike for the first 2 months, and people were kind of pissed about it and probably turned off a lot of people. Well, recently, literally in the last few days, they released it's a freemium, so you have to pay for orbs and quick money and so on. They essentially put out Ike and 3 other characters from his game, and people got super excited about it.
And then the twist.
And then the twist happens where they also knew that they had a bunch of really good characters beforehand, and people liked them, but they kind of didn't pay much attention to them. They released a thing where they became the focus of that summon.
Which they were
2
the
days
banner.
after the, yeah.
In other words.
2 days later, they had released after Ike. They released this thing where they were focusing all 4 of these people on the chopping block, and you were like, okay, now you can get these guys.
So a note: they did this immediately after everyone spent all of their in-game paid resources on Ike. So then everyone spent all of their in-game paid resources on these new characters so that they wanted previously, with which these characters had a higher percentage for you to summon them to entice you to buy more of the orbs to get these. And on top of that, Jonathan,
Mhm.
you know what happened?
On top of that, what happened on top of that?
I'm pretty sure. Now I heard. I think it's a rumor. I don't know if it's confirmed, but that they're doing another banner again, of like the player's favorite banner 2, which is potentially in the works.
Huh.
Again, I heard about that. I don't know if that was. Honestly, I don't know if it was satire or not. I can't tell at this point when it comes to news about that game. But in such quick succession, microtransactions. Time. Oh, but with the back-to-back that's going on of, oh, we have this one banner. Now we have this other banner of units you wanted beforehand. Now that you've spent all your money, bit of a problem.
Oh yeah. So it's making people spend a lot more, and it's really interesting to see that mechanic because people really want it. And of course, nobody's complaining. They're just like, and another event? They're giving us everything. But plot twist, they're not giving you everything. They're just getting your money.
Dad reveal. Dad's
So
Yeah, my dad is he just like walks in like in my room on occasion because like he doesn't knock anymore too, which is just it's great. It's so great. It's so great.
I mean,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're trying to tell us.
It's annoying. It's fucking annoying. Is that? Are we on the same page? All right, cool.
We're on the same page. We're on the same page here. But yeah, so Mark, what are your thoughts on the whole? Can you shout me out? Meatwad Sprite? Is that who we're? Say my name. Is it? Wait, say Meatwad Sprite 3 times fast, or who I think you are because I told a friend of mine about this podcast 3 times fast.
Oh, that's probably who it is.
Should I say
Who's
Meatwad Sprite, Meatwad Sprite? Or are you guys gonna Beetlejuice me? I don't.
And then they open the door right now and then punch you in the back of the head and run away.
You know,
Don't do it. You'll summon the devil.
Yeah, well, you know what's worse than a dad walking in on you for their podcasts?
Satan walking in on you during the podcast?
No, your roommate.
No. Back.
Oh. Okay.
Wait.
I'm included.
Oh wait, Meatwad Sprite. Meatwad Sprite's an imposter. Mecha 0000. It's the one. Oh, okay. Nice to know the imposter. Then who is Meatwad Sprite? Hi, Mecha though. Glad to see you here.
Hello, both of you.
Moist process. I'm not going to say that 3 times fast.
Good. But yeah,
Moist process.
Yeah, they've been really sneaky with this app lately. Like they've just been doing a lot of these random events where they're back to back, and you never really see what's coming. You're just kind of like, oh shit, it's all here and now.
I'm sorry, I was distracted. I was trying to figure out who Meatwad Sprite was, and some people are saying is it just Schroda who's having?
I think it's
trouble
just
understanding?
Schroda.
Schroda,
As far
I'm sorry.
as I'm concerned, I don't know actually. That isn't me, baby. John just ran so fast. They're like
40 miles in
12
15
feet
seconds.
away.
I know,
Oh,
40
wait.
whole miles.
12 million feet away.
Hey, I have an idea for a change in subject since we're on
Go
a
for it.
tangent now. Hey, Mark, could you type embarrassing usernames into the topic section?
Oh
goody.
shit!
Okay, so before the show, I was trying to get my Skype account active, and the whole problem was I never used Skype, so I had this super old username. That I never
Real quick, I don't want to interrupt real quick, but just a quick reminder, don't forget to send us your question for the question of the week. That's going to be done at the end of the podcast, so send that in at legacyofmarkjon@gmail.com. Should be in the chat in just a moment. Sorry for the interruption, Seven. Go ahead and continue.
Yeah,
Also,
no,
John, don't get us banned on Twitch.
What?
Huh?
Don't get us banned on Twitch.
I'm not doing that. I got you.
Okay, good. Thank God.
Meatwad Sprite, if you are trying to say I have a bit of a list, yes, I do. Thank you for pointing that out. Anyway, so usernames. I had this really old username that I had, and I tried to. Well, I was luckily able to change it. I also had a super edgy picture of a Guy Fawkes mask in a glass case saying, "In case of revolution, break glass." So I
Oh my
quickly changed
god!
that because I'm not
That's
letting
edgy.
that. I'm not letting that be the thing.
That's great.
But so I was curious what old username stories people here have, because I have a couple. Mark thinks he can top us all.
Oh,
But
probably.
so
My stories are boring, so I'm gonna go ahead and start off first.
okay.
My original screen name for Xbox 360, because I was sitting there and I by the way I'd never had live, but I was sitting there and I was like, I don't know what to do, so I sat there for 2 days, didn't turn on my 360, my brand new 360 that I had gotten for Christmas. My dad was like, why aren't you playing it? And I'm like, I don't know what my screen name needs to be. So I was like, it's got to be edgy. So I made it, because I was 14 and didn't understand what was hip. Dead guys with a Z fail. DeadGuyzfail. And eventually it evolved into, when I started using Twitter and so on, it became Lil Macanikes, which is a little better, and I think it's a little fun play on words. And then just in Smash 4, I just use Ike, and I do that in like, oh, I have a story about Fire Emblem Heroes, but besides the point. I name myself Ike on like other mediums and so on when I get the chance to. Anyway, that's my little snippet on names and so on. Seven, you want to go up next, or Mark?
Sure, I have
Go
a couple.
for it.
Which Mark says he's gonna win.
I hope so. I don't hope so, actually.
So I have a couple. First of all, my Skype username was the super edgy Musashi 289. Musashi after the samurai who invented dual wielding, because I thought that was the coolest thing. And 289 because of a quiz I took in junior high school where I needed to memorize what 17 squared was. But that's not the worst of it. The worst of it were my character names in World of Warcraft. Now, usually I would just make up long gibberish names for characters that sounded like Alamandara and stuff like that. That just made no sense at all. But Lemon grabbed my balls and fecal furniture. Okay, JP. You two don't know JP, but JP is a very interesting fellow.
Lemon grab my balls.
But the two names that I most remember. So first of all, I had a friend of mine whose character's name was Entreon, and his guild name, Nixon. That's great. His guild name was Beyond the Thunder, so his full name was Entreon Beyond the Thunder. And I thought that was the coolest, edgiest thing.
Okay.
So I started just trying to like have characters based on like, oh, I'll have like the word Entreon backwards. But eventually, it was super late one night. I couldn't pick a good character name, so I decided, you know what? Screw it, Battle Bacon.
That's not that bad.
Oh no.
Battle Bacon?
Battle Bacon, all one word. And I played
That's
this
cute. I
character.
love it.
Yeah, I played it rather seriously. So people would say like, "Hey, Battle," or "Hey, Bacon," and I'd be responding like, "Yes, I am a hunter, a serious bow and arrow guy." And I kept playing that until I made my Death Knight. Now, the Death Knights are the resurrected undead who defy their overlord of undeath, the Lich King, to fight against undead and save humanity. So already they're edgelords. Now, I need to be even more edgelordy. So not only was I a blood-specced Death Knight, so I was a Death Knight who used a lot of blood, but his name was Beyond Mortal.
Oh my god.
Because he was beyond death. He was beyond being immortal. And I played him to max level.
Of course you did.
So Mark,
Is it my turn? I only had one username until about the age of 14 or 15 when I changed on Xbox Live. My name was Kerboy46. because
Kirby.
I loved Kirby when I was a child, and I also the best part is that I was gonna name myself Curb Dude because I thought Dude was cool, but I was like, I'm not cool enough for Dude. I'm a boy.
Oh goodness.
So I was Kerboy46, and at a certain point, I actually started getting kicked from games of like Rainbow Six and stuff, and I felt really sad about that. Like, legitimately, my feelings were hurt when I was a kid. So I was like, hey, Dad, where can I get like, what do you think of a cooler name? And he was like, Marksman, and I was like, whoa, hey, that has my name in it. And then I put 46 on the end.
And it has the word man in it.
Yeah.
You're not a boy, you're a man.
I greatly upgraded. Also, I really liked guns when I was a kid, a lot more so.
Oh, I've heard another name that I usually use for things. Now, these are less cringy nicknames, or cringy usernames, except one of you might just slap me through the computer, or I have a sword to protect myself if Jonathan comes through the door. But
I have a sword to protect myself if nobody comes through the door, because I'm alone.
Except for Dadsman46. But the main username I use online is Phi Silver. Hi, Phi Silver.
Hi, Phi Silver.
Phi Silver.
But it is one in exile, spelt as you see here in chat. One as in victorious in exile because I am alone in exile, and victorious because I'm strong. But also I am one in exile, so it's a play on words.
I actually like that though.
It's good. Yeah, I like that one.
It is? Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that one.
Well, no, I mean, like, let's think about this for a second. Let's look at our three current screen names. It's like you have Marksman on the top left. You have Seven, with the name of One in Exile. You have Jonathan with Lil Mac and Ikes.
Like the candy.
You guys, yeah, exactly. Like, you guys have the badass ones. All I have is like Ike. That's it. I gotta have to come up with a new one for me to even be remotely.
I love Ballsack 97.
That's a great nickname.
I sound if am I noisy when I just type, or am I just noisy in general?
Mark.
Recently, Square Enix has announced a partnership with Nintendo, re-releasing Kingdom Hearts 1. But they took off the brand deal with Disney because now that's owned by, the corporate figureheads at a different company. They're replacing every Mickey Mouse, Goofy, and every Disney location with Nintendo locations. So can't wait for the Samus crossover where Sora fights Metroid.
Me? Or you? Me or you?
Me. Nier Automata has announced that there's going to be a new sequel coming up. It's going to be called Nier Manuela. It's going to be done with a different set of mechanical machines and everything of the like, except this time you're going to have to sit there and stop. Press the clutch. Put the thing into the gear. Let go of the clutch. Press on the gas. Go. Press on the clutch. Move it into another gear to fight. Move it back into the other gear so that you can shoot. Press on the clutch. Move it to the gear so that you can look in the other direction of the fight. Press on the clutch. Move it back into the direction where you're in an upright standing position so that way you can park the vehicle. Nier Manuela. It's a pain in the ass, but once you get it, I guess it's better.
Super Smash has just released a new character into the fray, a dead horse, where you keep talking about manual transmission. The dead horse is the only move you can use. Flailing on stage like a magic card.
Player unknown's fucking shit.
Jonathan, take over.
Fire Emblem Heroes has announced that it's going to go ahead and take away the Ike add-in, and it's going to instead add the new crossover with Kingdom Hearts. It's going to add Sora, and it's going to take away Ike. For all you Ike fans out there, go fuck yourself.
Okami has announced Okami 2. No longer using ink and paintbrushes, you'll be using other office supplies, like staples, paper clips, staple removers, blank sheets of paper, coffee stains, and existential dread to interact with the world and save the universe once again.
A game was recently announced by a long-thought-to-be-dead studio. The game's name is Viva Pinata 2, Viva Longer. For all your favorite characters, such as rocking horse thing.
Jonathan?
Lucasfilm has decided that they're going to go ahead and forego the giant task of trying to buy back Star Wars from Disney. It's not happening.
They're now releasing Star Wars Battlefront 5, where you are only allowed to play as Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks everywhere. Every player is Jar Jar Binks all the time. You cannot hit anything. You are worse than a stormtrooper, but you do have a long tongue and child appeal, because that's apparently Jar Jar Binks' purpose in the film that he failed to do.
They're gonna kill you.
Final Fantasy Brave Exvius has just announced that XVS actually stands for XV and then the letter I in Japanese, which means 1. They're announcing Final Fantasy 16 is actually just Brave Exvius.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for the absolutely Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have one more?
No, I was going to say that. Thank you for joining us for the absolutely true, absolutely not fake, real, authentic, 100% honest, no lies whatsoever news hour.
I stole that joke from somewhere. I thought it was kind of cool, actually. It was less of a joke, to be honest.
Oh, okay. So, we just missed a lot of chat. I don't think.
Yeah, I know.
That happens.
Yeah. All right. So, Jonathan, you had topics. Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned Battlefront. So Battlefront 2 released a trailer while we were on our little podcast hiatus. Again, sorry about that, guys. For those of you who guys were just going like, my Sunday is ruined because they haven't been doing the podcast for a few weeks.
Which was everyone, obviously.
Which was obviously everybody. But in that time, a whole bunch of trailers dropped, and the first one I wanted to go over was...
Wait, before we do that, can I talk about PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds?
Oh, yeah.
What?
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
What are we doing, the Battleground? Someone
no
change the
idea.
topic. Change the topic of what we're talking about so I know...
Battlefront, right? No?
Okay. Are we...
No, I want to talk about PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, because that game is something that I've been playing when I wasn't playing Nier, and it's really fun, and I like it.
Wait, Mark.
Yeah.
You could do the Battlefront quickly first, then the PlayerUnknown Battleground afterward. Because that was introduced first. It was introduced first.
Fine. Okay.
Sunday's ruined because I switched the format. Bye, Silver. What do you mean you can't hear me?
If I can hear you in my headphones, they can hear you just fine, and I can hear you just fine.
Then
Okay, so
rogue, it must be shot down.
Battle.
So the Battlefront 2 came out with the trailer, and the trailer is showing like there's a bunch of like elite stormtroopers that are actually good, and I guess that's like their weird way of retconning the fact that white stormtroopers suck. I don't know. But it looks interesting, but they haven't shown any real in-game footage yet. They've just been showing a lot of like animated stuff having to do with this squad. It's like if you want to pull up the trailer for it.
I already did.
You already did.
Steps ahead of you.
Gotcha.
How many steps?
I held
3
up 4
full
fingers,
steps.
and then the other one went down. But it was 3.
But yeah, it's really interesting to watch. I don't know how I quite feel about it because they didn't show anything amazing about it, and if they don't really change any of the combat features from the original Battlefront, the one from like last year or 2 years ago, if they don't change it up, then it's going to be like, okay, cool, I guess.
So I want to briefly interject with at the beginning of this ad, it said at the bottom, game engine footage. Not saying gameplay footage, but footage made in the gameplay engine.
That's a common thing. It happens a lot where they'll make a trailer in the engine to kind of showcase the maximum possible like beautifulness of an engine. They do that a lot with games like Crysis, with games that they're showcasing a new engine like Frostbite engine, which is what DICE and EA use, is fucking gorgeous. Like it's a fantastic engine. Okay. They made Mass Effect Andromeda, which if you ignore the facial shit, the game is fucking gorgeous, actually. Like, it has a really, really good graphics. And it's due in large part because the Frostbite engine does particle effects and lighting and reflections and all that stuff really, really well. And this is what it's being made in. And if you played the first Battlefront, it's fucking beautiful. They nail the feel of Star Wars really, really well. It's just not a good game. It's a game that you turn off your brain and like, I'm gonna go shoot some stormtroopers for 40 minutes and then be like, all right, well, that was fun for a little while. But if the game, I heard that they're adding a story mode because that was a huge thing that people were upset about in the original Battlefront. Battlefront. That they took out a story mode, but I heard they're gonna put it back in, or a new one, updated with this new stuff, and has to do with new characters. Like they added the characters from the new movies into Battlefront. Yeah, they added them into Battlefront, the one that came out a while ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was pretty cool, and they came up with some cool mechanics, like the that like weird Chancellor guy. He spawns in with 2 Death Troopers that people can take control of, and they're his bodyguards. Really? Yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh. I liked it.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
So here's the thing. So I am. Now this is going in the trailer. Unless I'm mistaken, it looked like the main character of Battlefront 2 is a woman of color. Is that? Did I see that correctly?
Yeah, I mean,
they've been trying to do that a lot recently. We're like, oh, Stormtrooper takes off their mask and they're ethnic, and you're like, okay,
now,
cool. Like,
I am all for inclusion. I am all for representation, but if you are going to be making a video game where you're playing a Stormtrooper, a generic troop, we're going to be wearing a mask this entire time, this armor, where you are just this generic role of a character. Yes, it is good that you're trying to be inclusive and have a good representation, but is the purpose of that character more for representation or more for the publicity of saying you have representation?
I think, honestly, I agree with you. I agree with you in some ways, because those old movies, I can't remember very many times, at least during the Imperial stuff, that Imperials would even take off their masks, like during the movie or anything, like ever, right?
I just recently rewatched them all, and they never did in the old trilogy.
And in these, every single one of them is like, time to take off my mask. Like, that's just a normal thing we do all the time. They never do that.
If I can chime in on this one real quick, let's also note that in the second trilogy they did, that they based it on one clone, so it was just a constant of one guy.
Right. Yeah.
Now, what they're doing here is, and I think this is an interesting way of approaching it, is they're taking off the helmet for like a little bit of an emotional depth. If you just wear a mask, you don't really have a real... Yeah, well, a Batman, at least you have emotions with the lips. You can see how he's feeling. If he looks tired, he looks like he's tired.
No, Batman he has the eyes. Feels Batman. Batman just feels Batman.
Okay. But by taking it off and seeing their actual physical facial reactions, you now have a little bit of emotional depth of like, oh wow, they were negatively impacted in a different way by the Death Star blowing up. I'm not even looking at it as the fact that it's like, ooh, it's a darker skinned individual representation. I didn't even look past that.
I didn't really see that either, to be honest, but I agree with you. Now that I think about it, I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, if you just kind of watch it, you let it surround you, like this noise surround you, just watch it in the dark. You're just sitting there going like, okay, I can kind of feel how they're feeling. That kind of sucks for them. Yeah. And then after that, it was just kind of like you're following these elite stormtroopers, and I think it's really interesting that they had them take off the helmet. And quite frankly, the first one that they really took off the helmet was with spoiler alert, the newer
Finn.
Finn in the newer Star Wars, where they literally showed it in the trailer, so it's not really much of a spoiler. But that was the first and I think only stormtrooper that ever took off his helmet.
I was under the impression that they were all clones of one individual.
Yeah, same here.
Well, clones die off too. I mean,
right, but then that's why you make more clones.
Okay, I suppose so. Well, I think the perspective on that one is like once the Empire fell, they didn't have a means to continue making that because they didn't know about it. Because remember, that was like an underground project in the second film. They had mentioned that. I'm going to go ahead and not say too much because Fox in the Box may or may not be watching, and she still hasn't watched the prequels yet, which, yeah, I know they're not that great, but got to watch them.
Whoa, are you saying she does not know the glory of Jar Jar Binks? That's a message.
No, she's...
Jar Jar Binks?
No, she knows. She's seen that one, oddly enough, but she hasn't seen the other two. but
Oh,
it adds a certain depth to it because I think it's just a matter of you get emotionally attached to the person who's now reacting to a new and new kind of
Look at
thing.
how pretty and colorless my phone is.
yeah.
I got a Nier Automata theme for it. It looks really
interesting.
symmetrical.
I agree though with the emotional content that's important for the characters. But it's less the fact they take the mask off that I'm questioning. It's they are taking the mask off for the emotional connections. Yes, they're taking the mask off so you can see their face. Yes. Yet they're they're having them be more minority characters for representation. Yes, but it's the nature of that representation. Is it for the purpose of actually representing people, or is it for, look, we're representing minorities, therefore we're good for you to try to support this type of behavior? Are we doing it for the message or for the publicity it'll get? I can't answer that. I don't know if any of us can. It's just it's the thought that I get.
I mean,
I really didn't read that much into it.
Let's be honest, there are parts of the movie where they construct them for marketing. That's kind of the point of trailers. That's kind of the point of those moments where they can, like, oh, take off the mask, look at who it is. It's weird, right? Whoa, crazy. You've never seen shit like this. Mm-hmm. That in and of itself could be like, would you, I mean, talking a little bit about race and stuff, but that's fine. Would it have been the same if he took off the mask and it was just like some white dude? Like just some random white guy? You'd be like, okay. Like, but you never think of like, oh, this stormtrooper could be black, and you're like, whoa, I never thought of that. And then it adds to that like mentality of like, well, should we go see this movie out of curiosity? That stormtrooper took off his mask. Just a thought.
Yeah,
no, that's an interesting point actually. Like, especially like you're describing this now, and I was actually trying to imagine it for myself. If they had taken the mask off in this in the Battlefront 2 trailer, and it was just some old white dude, it would have just been like, wow, okay, well, I guess you're out of work then. But because they had like, but because they had like, first of all, it was a woman. Second of all, it was someone who stands out as opposed to just some Joe Blow white guy.
Yeah, fucking white people, right? Fucking.
Oh God, they suck.
None of them.
But anyway, because they had something different, something that really caught your eye, I feel like that is where your emotional connection comes in, because it's just something new. You're just not used to it. You're just like, oh shit, let's see what happens, and then you just pay attention more, and you just put everything in.
It's flashy, but
Seven. Why?
Why what?
Why Joe Blow white guy? Jonathan, you spelled my name wrong, by the way.
Did I?
Yep. You're my roommate.
Jonathan.
Yeah, you spelled my name wrong.
Oh.
A-N.
Got it.
Rule of thumb,
Jonathan?
it's usually an A-N. So if you see something...
Jonathan!
Jonathan. Dude, that's gonna be like our RTX. It's gonna be our own con.
Jonathan?
The Jonathan.
So
it'll be like CoxCon, but you'll name it the Jonathan.
Like that? Like
exactly.
that?
Conathon!
Conathon. No, not Conathan. Conathon.
The blind monk being ethnically Asian? What blind monk?
Oh, the freaking dude from the newest movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, I'm not talking about the films. I'm just talking about this video game here. The films, it's like, yeah, there's going to be diversity. Go for it. Have at it.
That's true, though. He was like super stereotypical Asian. And I was like, oh, this monk guy is Asian. Surprise, surprise.
Well, you want to know something really interesting about that, though, is that they were doing some interviews, and they were talking about how they were basically trying to outreach the audience of China by doing that. I forget who was saying this.
Because China's fucking loves American films.
Well, it's not even that. They did that because they wanted to bring out audiences because of his name. So his name is big in China, apparently.
Really?
Yeah. So they were trying to like get more of the Chinese audiences to come out, and apparently like it kind of did a weird backlash.
They should have made him the stormtrooper, and
how?
And had Finn be the blind black monk. Yeah, it would have been great. Actually, I would have liked that.
Don't start that way, but they just switch mid movie and just have on their portrait now the blind monk, now Finn, and just have that going on.
That would be great.
Jackson as a blind monk. Interesting.
Hey, look
Oh.
at this. Did I tell you I couldn't see?
Tell me to look at something one more time. Oh, Pulp Fiction. Never mind that we're still living in a country world.
I think though, to Brunette Alicia's point, I think we're honestly at a point where no matter who they put in a role, they'll be like, oh, just another fucking stupid ass generic white dude. As many people as there are that are racist and like, oh, why would they put like a black person in that role? At the same time, yes, one of them is significantly worse than the other one is straight up racism. But at the same time, it's like you can't win anymore. Like,
No, you can't. At this point, there's such a divide in a lot of stuff, and again, don't want to go too far into the rabbit hole here, but there's such a huge divide. It's like whether you like playing with a console or PC is one thing, as opposed to just saying like, hey, let's just play games, and then we can talk about the game experience we had. But for some reason, like there's a rapid divide between the two, whether it be politics, race, whatever it may be, cars, like that happens, magazines, TV shows, like there's just these rapid, like, no, mine's better than yours, no, mine's better than yours, and this weird
PC
like
race.
divide between most of these things.
Yeah,
It just happens. That's human nature. A lot of that.
as Mecca pointed out, I was actually going to bring this up with Doctor Strange. There was this whole backlash of characters who were supposed to be Tibetan, who were supposed to be
Whitewashing.
yeah, exactly. Where so it's like same thing with that monk, but with the blind monk from the Star Wars, except opposite. It's a very fine line to tread. There's no way that we can have an answer of, oh, did they do it to represent, or did they do it to get the good publicity from representation? And then just a question of is any publicity good publicity, even if it's bad publicity, even if it's not the best publicity? It's just, again, it's this whole rabbit hole that we don't have. I'm not sure if this is the right arena for us to go into that right now, but it's just something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I agree though with Brunette Alicious. That's true. That's what I was saying. Is there is a big difference between them, but like both sides are gonna get hate regardless. And I'm totally fine with them putting whoever the fuck in a role.
Oh, yeah.
I've never once been like, I'm gonna watch this movie. Oh, actually, the protagonist is Asian. I don't know. Actually, now that I think, no, I've never done that. So like, it doesn't bother me. But either side, people were gonna find something wrong with it. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, actually, so I wanted to make a weird segue here. Speaking of brown people, the new game Rhyme that has a dark skin character. I'm just gonna make that transition out of here, so we stop. Stop going in.
Wait,
I want to talk about PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds at some point.
I will do that. That was mentioned first, but I have a request. I want everyone to clap in an awkward transition moment on 3. Ready? Hands up. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Jonathan, you made an awkward transition segue. So Rhyme, go on.
So Rhyme is going to be coming out, interestingly enough, before the not for the 360, Xbox One and PS4 come May 26th, which is a day after my birthday, actually. And it actually looks like it's pretty good. It looks like it's going to be like an open world adventure. Apparently, like it just looks very exploratory. It just looks very unique. When it comes out for the Switch, which is going to be till like August or something like that, or August or September, it just I can't wait. I'm definitely going to get this, but it looks very unique, like very stylized in what it is. I actually haven't seen the trailer before, so I'm kind of like taking a look at that.
I'm also watching it right now on the on the podcast. It looks like let's make a smaller Breath of the Wild and
kind of like that. Yeah.
Let's combine Breath of the Wild and The Witness, and that's what
there's
we're
the
climbing.
climbing. Oh shit! Yeah, it does look like just a different Breath of the Wild.
I'm also
It
getting
just looks unique.
some weird Bastion vibes, even though I've never played Bastion before.
I can dig it. Yeah.
But I'm getting Bastion vibes. And what was that Viking game you were playing?
Oh, shoot. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'll look it up.
I see no Bastion vibes.
I think it's just because he's wearing a red scarf.
No, I see The Witness as hell.
Jotun.
Jotun. Valhalla edition. That's the
Yeah,
game.
I could see some
Oh.
Jotun.
Oh, that's cool looking. I don't know what that means for the gameplay. That's just cool looking. Those little walker things.
Yeah, the thing is with games like these is the one thing that I'm worried about is like, oh, cool, another puzzle platformer thing.
Yep.
I've played about 400,000 of these by this point, and
Huh.
it looks nice, yeah, but all of the other ones I played also look nice, and this one has a slightly different art style and maybe some slightly different mechanics, but as far as I'm concerned, this is like a mix of The Witness and Myst, and maybe combine Myst with Breath of the Wild a little bit, with the kid exploring in a wide open world or whatever, but put some more. Well, actually, no, Breath of the Wild had puzzles in it too.
Breath of the Wild minus combat.
Breath of the Wild minus combat, and
Plus
probably
Windlands
less
minus-
exploration.
Plus Windlands minus 3D maneuver gear.
Plus, yeah, okay, I could see that, and then add some animals, which Breath of the Wild also had.
And puzzles. So which Breath of the Wild?
Also
oh
had.
no, there are gonna be a lot of Breath of the Wild clones now, aren't there?
Probably. Well, remember that Rhyme was announced before Breath of the Wild had really come out. That being said, there was enough material of Breath of the Wild to be able to make some sort of clones. So.
And The Last Guardian.
Oh, that's right. That's
the owl
true.
thing?
Yeah, this is.
Yeah.
I think this is The Last Guardian without the owl. That's what I'm going to say this game is, actually.
The Last
Okay.
Guardian without the owl.
Or is it an owl?
definitely
What the
gonna-
fuck is it?
I'm
It's a
definitely gonna
Trico.
go try and get it, because it's like $40. It's not like a full game. It's like 2/3. And I'm just like, fuck it. I want to try it. It looks
For
like it's
PS3.
gonna be a good time.
So, for the PS4 only?
No, PS4, Xbox One, PC, and then that's May 26th. And then on August or late August, early September, it's going to come out for the Switch.
I don't think it's unfair to compare it to other games that weren't out when its development started, because those games were announced years in advance, first of all. Second of all, comparing games is kind of what we do as anything. When you review something, when you talk about a media property, it's very okay to talk about it in reference to other games. Like combat, you can be like, oh, it's like Dark Souls in this way, or it's in this something into this way. Where I think in almost every game nowadays is, it took elements of this and this and this, and then added this little tiny spice to it, and this is a new game. You get a new boss.
Mark, were you referencing Mecha's response or what?
Yes, I was.
Gotcha. Okay.
There is. Oh, if I may?
No, yeah, go ahead.
There's also when it comes to comparing. Yes, you should look at things in a vacuum, but we can't. There's a book that if anyone has read it, please tell me. It's called "Look at Me" by, I want to say Jennifer Egan, but I feel like that's wrong. Where it's a really interesting book. It was released. Actually, the book is about like a model who had her entire face surgically reconstructed from a car crash, a college professor who almost blew up his classroom, and a terrorist who I think might have been from the Middle East. However, this book was released before 9/11. So there was so much context and important cultural things and societal things that happened after the book that was released that overshadowed it, overpowered it, changed its entire meaning. But if we looked at it in a vacuum, those would not be there. It would be a very different book. But even though, yes, the book was not released with 9/11 in mind, we have to compare them to each other in order to understand in our world whether or not they were meant to interact.
Right.
Same thing with games. Yes, it's not fair to call the clone when they were released at the different points.
Agreed, yeah.
Especially when chronologically. But to compare them to each other, one will overshadow the other, and whether the first one came first, it'll seem like a derivative. Like,
Right.
everyone knows the song "Mad World" from Donnie Darko, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a cover of the song, where the initial version of it is this really happy, upbeat sounding song, but people
No kidding.
People think that by Tears for Fears, "Mad World" is this happier song, but everyone only remembers the depressing, sad version, thinking it's the original, and the Tears for Fears one, they don't know that that's what came first.
Interesting.
I'm actually curious to look up
a
the
good
real
example.
song
Wait,
It's a good
does
example.
our videos that we have play sound or just the video?
I could make them play sound if you want, but
Well, we're gonna be putting this on to YouTube, so we don't
Yeah.
want to like have any audio with that. Real quick reminder to everybody that if you guys send in your questions to legacyofmarkjon@gmail.com, you will be able to get your question answered in full for 10 minutes from all three of us, getting all of your takes and everything. Don't forget to send it. We're still waiting on a couple of questions, so see if you guys want to get any personal questions out of the way. Personal, video game, film, whatever question you guys want to ask, it's your fair game. So have at it.
oh, wait, John, are you still
I-
signed in on the Legacy of MarkJon account?
Yeah.
I can't.
Mod 7, Mod 1 in Exile. Just
Yeah.
click the name and then click mod.
Mod is
Okay.
the thunder.
It says mod, yeah.
Okay, done.
Do I have powers now?
Yes, now you have powers.
Can I do this?
Yes.
I have powers. That's the link to the song if anyone's interested. Also, Mecha, yes, you're right. It's not fair to call them clones. It's not exactly fair to compare them, but they will end up being compared, is how it will end up with.
Greg, any question you want?
All right. So,
Anything.
hey, Mark,
Uh-huh.
I have a question. Do you know any...
Sponsor time.
Well, I have a different question.
Oh,
First,
damn it.
Before that, do you want it to be sponsor time?
I was
Because think
thinking
it's
I was like gonna head you off super hard just now, but yeah.
Oh, because I was
Do you have a sponsor time? Because
I have a couple, but I had a question for Mark first.
What's the question?
okay.
Do you have any interesting facts about swords?
I do have an interesting fact about a sword this time. Welcome to Mark's Sword Corner.
Oh, Mark, the topic. You can make the topic say Mark's Sword Corner. You can also make it say sponsor time and real news time and all that stuff.
Okay, well I need to put away my sword first because otherwise it's dangerous. I need to make this topic thing bigger. That's what I've learned over the course of this.
Yeah, so we're going to use this new format.
Swords. So, interesting fact. Did you guys know that at the turn of the 16th century was when the dawn of rapiers began? The end of cutting swords, much like this, and long swords and great swords, they began to make things like rapiers, but they were actually about 6 feet long and would drag on the ground on the streets. And because of this, they were extremely annoying to carry, and because of that, they made rapiers again, but designed them to only be about 3 feet long, and that was the beginning of competitive swordsmanship.
Interesting.
Why?
That was Mark's Sword Corner.
Wait, why were they
Ba-dum-bum.
6 feet
Oh, that's
long?
good.
Were they just like lances?
They were made of thin, wiggly metal, and they were 6 feet long.
Aren't they like wiry, flappy swords, like with ribbons used? I think I want to say in India or somewhere.
I have no...
Like spin them like they're 10 feet long. You just like try to slash them with them as you like swirl them over your head.
I have no
Type
idea.
stuff?
But oh, I know what you're talking about. They look like paper, but ribbon, but not paper.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were metal.
Yeah.
We train. I had the option to train with them actually in my when I was doing karate and kung fu. That was one of the things that I was able to do. They were called like butterfly swords, I think.
Interesting.
I think. I don't actually know.
Huh.
It's pronounced Mork. What the fuck is happening? Makes Steven and Mark fence to death. We already fought like a bunch of times
That's what-
on Friday.
Yeah, I also that one time. There was one time that Mark brought some
I
training
would
swords.
point to it, but we get banned because... Ouch. Just tell the story.
And you see, I was currently on a fencing team at the time, and I went into "oh no, Mark's going to kill me" mode. I had to kill him first, so I ended up hitting him rather hard in the groin.
Really?
It was not intentional. It's
I had a
just where
bruise there for a long time, actually.
It's just where he happened to leave an opening. It's a bad place to leave an opening. He would have bled to death. I felt really
I was
bad.
trying to play. I was so defensive. Like I wasn't even striking at you or anything.
Nope.
That's how I am when I
69.
spar with someone. Is I just practice like blocking and dodging and stuff.
Kerboy 69.
Kerboy 69. A bruised
Oh.
groin. Yeah. No, it was like right in the inner thigh, like right next to my dick. Like had it been an inch closer to me, it would have lopped that motherfucker off. Honestly. But it was painful. Anyway, we're fine.
You would have
now,
been a
though.
father. You would have gone from a father of 6 billion to a father of none.
Hey, Seven, you
Father-
remember that time you threw your phone and it hit me in the nose too?
Which time?
When it was back at when we were hanging out with in the
Grand,
other
you were lying on
apartment.
the couch.
Yeah, I was behind the couch hiding, and
I
then you
thought you-
threw your phone.
I thought you were going to scare me, so I wanted to have a preemptive.
I was just gonna keep hiding. I was
just
just
gonna-
gonna keep hiding. Cut his dick clean off.
Yep, that's how it works, isn't it?
Anyway.
Hey guys, you know what else is interesting in the world of video games?
What else is in the world of video games?
E3 2017.
Or
What about it?
for the sake of chronology, PlayerUnknown Battleground.
Yay!
There you go. That's true.
Finally.
That's very
Segue.
true. Very
Segue.
fair.
Finally,
Segue.
I can
I had the
show.
segue.
I had this video queued up as next for so long. So PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, for those of you who have been living under a rock for the last while, it is a game where you are dropped in. I've been telling friends about this who I know in the real life town who don't know much about games.
Is this that stream of you playing it in the corner?
Yes, because I don't
Are
have
you
to give any royalties or anything to myself because it's me. Which is
But-
why I
okay.
like talking about games that I've actually played on my channel and stuff, and now I can reference them and not be like, oh no, someone's gonna maybe sue us.
Lightning powers.
But
Go on.
basically, you drop in from the sky. There's like a plane, and it drops you parachute. You parachute down, and you can play with up to 4 people on your squad. This is myself and actually Red Sage in the chat. We were playing this game together, and we were in duos. Where who's with you in this game? I just one step ahead of you, Red Sage. Where you pick an area to drop in. Places that have a lot of loot, like cities and stuff, are a lot more dangerous because more players will drop there, try to find more loot. So you can choose to maybe go off into like a little farmhouse, like a mile out from a major town, and maybe only get like a pistol or something. And then you have to scavenge even harder and watch out. It's a very tactical game, whereas something like Call of Duty is like you spawn in, you shoot someone, you die. This game is you drop in, and either you die right away or you live until the very end, which could take 20 to 30 minutes, and you're in it for the long haul. It is really intense, and my 3rd game ever, I won, and it was me and Greg. Greg died when there was like maybe 13 to 10 people left. I don't remember exactly how many. And I had a sniper rifle, but with no scope, because you can pick up attachments and stuff to put on your guns, and it gives you more, range, more sight lines, stuff like that. I only had a red dot sight for a sniper rifle, and I managed to kill 4 people, which in a game you average maybe 1 to 2 kills per life, depending on how good you are and how difficult the game was for you. And it's a really fun and intense game, and it's a long form game that is really rewarding, because when you get a kill, it's like, oh my god, I fucking got him, guys! Oh my god, now I can go loot his body, and maybe he had a gun, and maybe he had this, and maybe he had exactly what I needed, and then you get shot in the head and die. Yes,
Good.
that happens a lot.
Yeah. Well, here I have a question actually
Yes.
about that win that you got. So how often have you played PlayerUnknown Battleground after that whole session where you won?
I haven't had time, because one thing I've finished near, and for another thing, it is a long ass game, and I can only really make time for solo queues very rarely, or even need to wait for other people to play. I've done a couple solo queues, and the highest I got solo was 5th place.
Okay.
But like I mean, it was definitely winnable, but there's so much strategy involved. Like basically you drop it and then the map starts closing in, so everyone has to conglomerate into one area, and then that area starts closing in, and then that area starts closing in until it's an area maybe the size of your house. Like, it's super small, super tight, and you absolutely have to like be super careful where you move. And if you get caught in the electric field that's like closing in, you can only live for so long, but you have to be watching out for people who are maybe running in late and might run in behind you, because you might have cover that's like covered only because you're on the edge. It's a really intense game.
My question is, there's a saying that the world's greatest swordsman does not fear the world's second greatest swordsman. He fears the guy who picked up the sword for the first time. So there's this whole idea that
No.
with games that require all the strategy, if people know the strategy, then yeah, you can handle it. You know how to interact with it, but they don't know the strategy, then you have a bit of an edge because
This is
of unpredictability.
absolutely not the case in this game.
Okay.
Before I played, to be fair, it wasn't like, oh, my third game ever, yay! It was like, I watched 26 episodes of all of these other people playing it, and all this other time spent in playing it, and I was like, I was theorizing like my own ways of how I would do things if I was put in their position and stuff. And then I was like, you know what, I should get the game because it looks really fun, and it is, to be fair. I didn't even think I would like games like this, but it's actually very fun because, like, when those interactions happen, which are very few and far between, you'll be like, if you're in a party of people, you're like, oh, fuck, contact, there's a car, get down. And then you both drop the ground, and, like, the car will drive by, and you can choose to shoot them or not shoot them, and you have to weigh how much ammo you have, if it'll give away your position. Maybe you're in an open field where there's a sniper trying to track you guys down. It's really good. And a non-experienced player doesn't know where to loot. They don't know how to do certain things. They don't know which cars function. They don't know when they should leave to go to the area where the map is enclosing. They don't know a lot of the things that are incredibly important when you're weighing the pros and cons of what you should be doing in the game.
Okay, gotcha. I want to have a bit of brief tangent. Jonathan, is your window open still?
Yeah.
Do you smell stuff burning and smoke right now? Because I'm smelling smoke over here. For those in the chat who are unaware, there's a fire currently not very close, but close enough to our house that we're a little bit concerned.
Okay, how about this? Why don't you guys continue talking about this game? I'm going to go check on it real quick. I'll be back in about 2 minutes, 3 minutes time, okay?
Okay, and if you're not back, we will assume that you are on fire and that we should accept that I am going to die very soon.
Not
Very
off sync anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, bye guys.
Not on stream, but
I'll be right back.
Good
Okay,
luck.
So,
I also noticed that my webcam gets a little off sync when I play a video on the thing because I don't really know why, to be honest. Probably because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different things all playing
how
video
many? How many?
7 different things playing video all simultaneously on my desktop, and that's probably not good for the processor.
Okay,
maybe.
okay. I have a question. This is just a logistics thing, since we don't have Jonathan, so topics are
What
less
a
of a
fucking
thing now.
nerd.
Is there a way to have it be the number 7? Is that a thing?
Ask
That's
Xenia
my
if she can remake it, because I don't have that font.
Okay, because I thought you could change I thought you were able to change the topics. I assume that you were able to change the rest.
How do you feel about this new overlay?
I think it's interesting. I feel like we should do something interesting with Pumpy, though.
Well, I
like
mean,
this
that's the possibility corner, though, right? We have so many things we could do with that last square. For one, we could have guests on, you know.
We could have guests on.
Yeah, we don't have
who
to
could be our
work.
guests? Like, for example,
A box of toast. Greg, if you ever want to hop into the MarkJon podcast, we got a nice little Pumpy slot for you. We'll put the pumpkin right over your face, and also anytime someone follows, it's going to go over your face. So I'm not changing that. I'm excited for that.
Oh, the woes of the guest seat.
Yeah.
So, what other videos do you have up and ready to show right now?
We could have many guests on. Pretty much anyone, because the world is our oyster now that we have Skype and technology. We don't have to have guests from only like a 40-mile radius. They could live anywhere.
Mark, I'm going to interrupt you. Is it bigger, Jonathan, or is it the same? The fire?
No, it's actually really funny. It's not even there anymore.
Gone?
Like the fire is basically out in at least in our neck of the woods.
Okay.
But by God, have the ashes come down? That's what we're smelling.
So the wind's changed direction?
Yeah, so all the ashes come down, so it's really hard to breathe out there.
Speaking of ash, we could talk about Dark Souls, or we could do sponsor time.
Yeah, no, we're gonna do sponsor time, duh.
Sponsor time? Wait, I'm sorry, what time?
Sponsor time.
Sponsor time.
There is a meadow. In it, The crops do not grow. Instead, arms reach skyward. Hands trying to grip the clouds and pull them down to the earth. Water for these thirsty plants. They sing to you softly in the breeze. Quiet, quiet words. Periwinkle, mahogany, oak. Periwinkle, mahogany, oak, and nobody knows why. The farmers walk among them, too frightened to use their sickles. They do not know whose arms these are. They do not know if they have families, if they have children. They do not know if they will bleed if they cut them. Do they keep their sickles, their scythes, their hammers, their chainsaws, their shotels, their rapiers, all of their weaponry tightly wound in cloth, pressed close to their chests as they walk through the rows of their farms, hide in their barns at night from the singing periwinkle, mahogany, oak. Periwinkle, mahogany, oak. Nobody knows where the words come from. The arms reach higher and higher. At night they grow taller. The stars are blacked out by fingertips and untrimmed nails. They cannot keep living like this, these farmers hiding in their barns at night, for there are rulers of this land, require taxes, require sustenance, require a means for letting them stay here, a means for them being protected by their knights and their wolf dogs and their cat dogs and their dream dogs and their filth dogs and their toilet dogs and their ivory dogs and their dogs with collars they keep in their purses, these rulers of this land. They ride down on a horseback. They ignore the singing of periwinkle, mahogany, oak. They slap down the hands that reach for them as if they are clouds, as if they are something to be brought down to feed the land. And they drive their beasts up to the edge of the barns. The farmers never have enough to pay them. They are hung every morning. New hands sprout behind the gallows. Thus is the tragedy of the land of Barnes and Nobles. Barnes and Nobles booksellers.
God damn!
Oh, that's rough. Oh, that's rough. That hurts.
Sponsor time. We still have a topic as player unknown battleground. Mecha, just let you know, sponsor time happens. It's me having fun. It's so much fun. I love seeing this happen to them.
There was a... Which one was it that got us like a ridiculous... Like, it was stupid amazing.
This is the Disney one?
Huh?
Oh, Beats by Dre got me good. Yeah.
No, it was another one. It was, God, I can't remember. We basically have sponsor times for every single one. If you guys like it, check out the YouTube channel. Oh yeah, we can plug ourselves. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribble my bundles.
On here. Boom.
Where? Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
Two things. Step one. What else do we follow? Is there any other channels that we should know about?
Oh, if you want to check me out, myself specifically, I don't stream anymore, pretty much, because I haven't done that in like 2 or 3 weeks. But if you want to watch me be an idiot on my own stuff, you can follow me at www.twitch.tv/marksman46. Right there. Hey, it's me. Hey, look at me. I'm Mr. Marksman. Existence is pain.
So, secondly, our topic right now is stuff.
Yeah, because I don't know what to put there right now.
Okay.
Real quick, please don't forget to send in your questions. We don't have any like tangible questions that we can ask right now. I think I have one that we haven't used yet, but we gotta send in those questions if you guys want to get something answered, and we can talk about just about anything. So don't forget to send those in, and we'll get to that.
Yay!
Yay.
I'm trying to watch the topics. They're changing. Freedom. Yes. No. It's pain. Yes. No. It's life now. We are living through its death because that comes after life. Taxes. You know, the only constants in life are death and taxes. What's coming up next? The blank. Come on. Try to stump me. Marxism because you must help the proletariat overcome the strength of the bourgeoisie, but tigers are what you must have the proletariats ride to fight the bourgeoisie. With their podcraft, those pods. This is stupid. Anyway, Dark Souls. Said Dark Souls. Please give us real.
Dark Souls 3, the Fire Fades edition is going to be coming out soon. That is essentially Dark Souls 3 with all the DLC attached to it. So that's interesting. I know, Mark, you're a big fan of Dark Souls 3. We do actually.
Yes, I am.
So I wanted to ask you guys this then. This is I don't know if you guys want to talk about specifically the DLC or anything. Is there anything you wanted to mention?
Dark Souls is over. It's done. This is the last thing you'll be able to buy unless they do some bullshit spin-offs of the game later on. But
why is that?
This is the end. This is the last Dark Souls. It's over. This is the final one in the series. And Ashes of Ariandel, the last DLC of the last Dark Souls game in the series. FromSoft said that they're going to work on a different property now that isn't Dark Souls. But if you want to experience arguably one of the very best action RPGs ever, I would highly recommend you play Dark Souls 3. It does justice to the original Dark Souls. Dark Souls 2 is... It's okay. Huh. Dark Souls 1 is great. It's annoying to get working, so I understand. But Dark Souls 3 is fantastic, and I cannot recommend it enough. It is up there in my probably top 3 games of all time. Up there now with Nier Automata, Final Fantasy. Honestly, I think it's... Depending on if my feelings change about Nier in the next week, which I doubt... But if it does happen, it'll be Nier, Dark Souls 3, and then Final Fantasy 15 are some of my favorite games of all time. And it is absolutely amazing. And just go play it.
Here's a question. If you have not played Dark Souls 1 or 2, how is Dark Souls 3?
I will give you the summary in about 10 seconds.
Deal.
The world is shit. Everything's dying. You are there to make it not shit, sort of, but it's your choice.
Okay.
10 seconds. Good job.
Thank you.
Also, Jonathan, I think Mecha sent us a question of the week. If I read his message correctly.
Yeah, it's not so much a question as it's a bit more of a request. But I'm gonna go ahead and do both. Then I'm gonna do that, and then we're gonna do the Mecha one near the end.
Because I think we should start to wrap this up on account of its.
Yeah, of course. First of all, Steven, when you get the chance, I have somebody has sent us an email as a request for a sponsor time, which you are more than welcome to do. Send requests in for what you guys want a product to be, or if you guys have a personal idea, you guys go ahead and send those in. Steven will personally look them over, edit them, and then do it with his own Steven-y taste. Anyway, the question of the week this week is going to be from, this would be Toastus. And the question was, what are your I'm not sure if we've answered this one yet or not, because it was opened, but I don't know if it was used. What are your personal opinions on the significance of the sense of exploration in games? Do you feel that procedurally generated worlds can be on the same level of fun as exploration? We did talk about this, didn't we?
But Seven nor Toastus were here when we did it.
Okay.
So we can do it again then. So it said, what is your personal opinions on the significance of the sense of exploration in games? Do you feel the procedurally generated worlds can be on the same level of fun of explorations as one crafted by developers with intent on how they wish to craft their world? And it says, thanks and good luck with the podcast. I will try to make it. And of course, you have made it today. Thanks, Toastus, for your question. Let's go ahead and start with what? You want to start this off, Steven?
With that, I would say that I have a unique relationship with exploration in games on account of I get lost really easily.
You have a terrible sense of direction. Yes.
It is absolutely horrible. So, I prefer games that are relatively easy to navigate, that are straightforward. If they're all loopy around, Dark Souls. I don't know where I'm supposed to be going. So, but specifically though with procedurally generated versus handcrafted, I like the idea of exploration in handcrafted games because I know there are things to look for. There are certain places. There are Easter eggs. Oh, that weird cliff is weird for a reason. I should check it out. But with procedurally generated, has the potential for cool stuff that's not normally intended. For example, with I'm going to use Minecraft as my example. There was this one seed. What was it? It wasn't Gargamel. It was something like that. The evil guy from the Smurfs, whoever his name was. That seed was a super cool seed. It wasn't anticipated. It wasn't expected, but it was this really cool experience. And again, you go to that procedurally generated world. You keep finding all these cool things. My problem with that is that while Mark has too good to use syndrome, I have too good to settle syndrome. Where if there's a really cool procedurally generated world, like, this is so cool. Yeah, cool. Base, build my base right here. Oh, this is so great, but wait. What if just over the next hill is something super cool? So you see, I go over the next hill like 27 times, and I find something super cool. So I get all my stuff and bring it to this new base. I half establish it and think, but wait! What if over the next hill is something super cool? And it is just over the next hill. Like, this is so great. What if I build a bridge between this hill and this hill? I get halfway done with the bridge. At this point, it's like a single line of dirt. And I think, but wait! What if I go across the ocean, build another portal, go through it, who knows how long, get back out of it again, go 2 biomes over, and then it's even more cool, and I never play the game again.
I honestly, when you started saying exploring and then just over the hill, I was like, talking about Minecraft. And then you went to Line of Dirt, and I was like, this is definitely Minecraft. And then you said Nether World. Then you said Nether Portal, and I was like, this is Minecraft.
I said Minecraft.
I don't think you prefaced it with it, did you?
No, I said Minecraft. I mentioned
Minecraft.
I didn't hear it.
John didn't hear it. I didn't hear it. I don't.
Chat. Did I say Minecraft? I mentioned Gargamel, which is from Minecraft.
Gargamel is not from Minecraft, as far as I'm aware.
Gargamel is a seed named after the bad guy from Smurf. From the Smurfs, where it is used to make this old super cool seed that you no longer can make because they updated the game. I used to care about Minecraft a lot.
Huh.
I can tell.
Toastus
Wow.
is validating.
Alright, good job, Toastus. Way to pay attention. More than John and I, apparently.
Talking about
How about you, Mark? What's
I think in the way that I see it now, after playing Nier and having more to say on it, listening to what Seven said, I think the rewards of a procedurally generated game have to be more intrinsic than a game that's handcrafted. In a game like, for example, Breath of the Wild, you explore and you get Kokiri seeds and you find weapons and you find whatever. You find all these solid items that are meant for a set progression. You'll find shrines. You'll find things that the developers were like, hey, let's put this thing here because it's going to be cool, right? Whereas a procedurally generated game like Isaac, like Spelunky, like what was my other example? Lego Worlds. Where the exploration doesn't give you a solid benefit, except for in Isaac and Spelunky. There can be an argument for that. But in Lego Worlds specifically, and games where exploration is key, in a procedural exploration world, the reward itself has to have some intrinsic value to you. It has to lead you to something that maybe is just a slightly newer configuration that makes you go, whoa, that's kind of cool. Or has so much stuff in it, like so many block orientations or so many... Because you have to have some sort of blocks to make a procedural world. You have to have some sort of building blocks that the world generates. You have to have so many of those blocks that you don't ever find the same thing twice. And things like Legos, you have that already. You have hundreds of thousands of different kinds of blocks and sets and all this other shit where you'll find something new and you'll almost always be like, oh, that's cool, or this is slightly different than last time, in some semi-meaningful way. But some people can't find the meaning in that, and those people are going to dislike procedurally generated exploration games. And that's fine. That might not be for everyone, but there are times where in even a fucking Lego game, I stopped and I was like, this is beautiful. Or exploration in a game like Spelunky, where exploration is more of a risk-reward benefit. And same with Isaac, where you know that the thing that it creates, this procedurally generated, this floor, for lack of a better term, or for the best term, honestly, is going to be dangerous. That exploring this new configuration of enemies, that this new configuration of the room layout, or something that you have faced but is still a challenge to you, will give you a benefit at possible cost to yourself, is a different way of doing procedural exploration. And I think that is equally valid, but less rewarding exploration. You're not like, oh, this is a new meaningful thing. This is, you're fighting for the sake of benefit.
I can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I stand in a weird ballpark with this one. I always think about this back in the days of like 2004 when I was like, 8, 9. And I'm thinking about this as like when I was younger, what would have meant more to me? A personalized experience that only I would feel like I experienced, or being able to talk about it with other people. Now, I'm going to be quoting Breath of the Wild, or using Breath of the Wild as my example, just because, that's what I've been playing a lot of lately. I sit there and I'm playing it alongside my girlfriend Shelby, Fox in the Box, for you guys who don't know. We've been playing it basically side by side. I beat it first because I own the game and it's in my hands more often. And the fact that she and I could go back and forth and say, look, I found it this way. What's your approach? And we can sit there and talk back and forth, as opposed to if you're not on the same server with like Minecraft or Lego Worlds, you have two separate conditions, two separate things, and yeah, you can talk to each other as like, how do you craft this? Oh, it's this way. How did you build this? Oh, this way. But it does nothing to do with the exploration part. Whatever you explore is what you're exploring, and you're exploring alone, as opposed to with a game like Breath of the Wild or any other, like Dark Souls, for example, where you're walking around and you can really pretty much go anywhere you want to. Well, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but you can sit there and you can talk about these experiences with somebody else. And I really enjoyed that. That's kind of the part of video games that I kind of wish would come back. I really enjoyed that when I was younger. Super Smash Brothers. Super Smash Brothers mainly? How did you get? How did you fight Giga Bowser? How did you do that? And then you
Play
find
Nier
out.
Automata. I'll talk to you plenty about that.
Right, it's the same thing with Nier Automata. You can do the same thing. But I like that, especially with an exploration game where you're just like, hey, look what I found, and it's like some sort of new weapon, and you're just like, oh wow, where'd you find that? And I'll just, you can talk about that kind of thing, as opposed to with, games like Minecraft and with Lego Worlds. Like if you find a weapon, it's like, oh, I found a weapon. Where'd you find it? Find it yourself.
That's the thing, actually, about both Lego Worlds and Starbound, is I played those games with people, and I was like, oh shit, I found this weapon. And they were like, where'd you find it? And I was like, it's at Seed 173, Planet 17. And they were like, oh, okay, I'll go over there and get it. You can do stuff like that. That's a cool way of doing things, actually, I think.
Remember, I did preface it with, if you're not on the same server.
You're not on the same server. You don't have to be on the same server on Starbound nor Lego Worlds. It's seeded generated. So every seeded world that you give, so say you're like, oh, I'm at this coordinate in Starbound, which is just the coordinate of the seed that generates it, is the same thing that they will see in their game. You don't have to even be connected over the internet. I could text my friend who lives in Malaysia the seed of the world that I just played in Starbound, and they will see the same world, as long as they're in the same update.
See, that I did not know. I was, because I'm thinking about this in Minecraft terms, where you do have to be in the same server to have the same world, and et cetera, as opposed to it being just one large.
Yes, seeds allow you to share experience. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
With Gargamel, for example, that's a seed where you put Gargamel in when you create your world. Yes, you will not be able to interact with each other on the world unless you're on the same server, but the world will generate in the same way. The seeds are how the world is generated.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, see, I didn't know that.
Plus, in shit like Starbound, I was like, one of the first places I went, semi early on was an ocean planet. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, you can sail across the open sea and reach different islands. I was like, that's neat. But what's at the bottom of the ocean? And at the bottom of the fucking ocean is like an Atlantis, like, city that you can explore. And I was like, holy shit, this is really cool, actually.
I want to briefly interject. My experience with Ocean Planet was sort of similar, except I did not think, oh, what's at the bottom? I thought, dang it killed me. And my guns fell to the bottom of the ocean. I guess I am swimming. And I went to the bottom, and I found Atlantis, because it happened to fall down into one of the shafts of the city. We're like, this is so cool. I hate fish now, because they keep killing me. I'm going to rob this place. And that's what happened. Alright.
And then, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this up then, but before we do, I want to go ahead and acknowledge that Mecha did ask a question, and I want to go ahead and answer that real quick. His question to us was just basically talking about guests on the show. Now, because of this format, we can actually do guests on the show. However, it's a little more complicated than that. If we're doing something like this, it's with people who we've had prolonged contacts with, can know that we have...
I know Mecha.
What's up?
I know Mecha.
Huh?
Yeah.
I know Mecha.
No, but I'm talking about like with all three of us.
Oh, yeah,
right?
okay.
For example,
Yeah.
Greg has now had experience with all three of us, and
Yeah, okay.
you know,
Make-
so there will be a bit of a screening thing, but if it ends up coming to that, we'll probably be talking to whoever's interested, but just know that it's not going to happen too often. And when it does happen, it'll be someone like Fox in the Box or Greg, or it might be a special guest from the future who
we
that
have
might
time
happen.
travelers?
We do have time travelers. So we don't know about the whole guest thing, how that's going to set up. That we don't know too much about that situation yet. We'll revisit that when that bridge comes, but we are unsure as to what specifically we're going to be doing with that yet. So anyway, thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, to the Legacy of MarkJon podcast number 19. Next week, bring your questions coming, because we are going to be doing an that's an
What's
Ask
an
Us
ow?
Anything. It's an Ask Us Anything. So if you guys, we're just going to sit here and we're going to take your questions from chat, and we're just going to answer them all.
For the whole time,
the
or
way
for
through.
part of the time?
Either way, if it depends on how things look. If there's no questions, we'll just end up doing, a couple of minor topics.
Ask
here and
Us
there.
Anythings are fun, though.
Nothing too crazy. It was fun. The last
I had a
time we
good
did
time
it,
with
was
it.
fantastic.
We did tell both of our dick sizes, though, on stream. So,
Did you?
yeah,
Really?
yes.
Mhm.
Should I go watch this stream to know my friends more intimately?
If you want,
If
I mean,
you want, yeah.
I'll tell you right
We
now
actually
if
did
you're
talk
really
about-
curious. To be honest,
I'm not.
We did
curious
talk about
enough
some
to-
rather intense stuff too. It was
How
really
intense?
cool.
um,
just-
Here.
deep stuff. It was good. It was a good
Yeah,
time.
it was a good time.
Interesting. Okay.
God,
Wow.
but let me end it on this note. By the way, thank you guys for tuning in. By the way,
Yes, thank you.
if you have any interest at all in Nier Automata, go fucking play it. It is really good. It is very, very good. If you have even the slightest interest, if you've seen porn of 2B and were like, damn, she's hot, go play it. That's how I started playing the game, and now I just get sad when I see porn of it.
Mark, John, thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.